disturbing new revelations that show that children at Gloriavale were allegedly suffocated as a form of discipline. And the really shocking part to add to this is that authorities knew about it 8 years ago. So why are they taking formal enforcement action now? What took them so long? Michael Morra is a senior investigative reporter here at the Herald, and he's been looking into this. He joins me now. Michael, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Garth.
People will have seen this story and been aware about the technique that we were talking about. Perhaps if you can just catch us up.
Yeah, so I think just to refresh our viewers and listeners this morning on Herald Now, the key thing here is that under the founder of Gloriavale, Hopeful Christian, he taught parents, and this happened during married couples meetings, that to break the will of children and babies and to make sure they don't cry or disrupt meetings or dinner time, you would put your hand over their mouth and nose until the child went limp. Now, obviously to us this sounds incredibly dangerous.
That's shocking.
It is absolutely shocking. It is essentially suffocation, but this was taught and parents were told very clearly that don't worry, it's not dangerous, because when the child goes limp, they will then relax and start breathing again and it will be okay. There was evidence of the Royal Commission into Abuse and Care of Children going blue. Now, as a result of that inquiry where we heard about these suffocation tactics, there was a mass allegation investigation into this suffocation practice that the Herald revealed last month. Now, this started in November last year, and as a result of that investigation, more than 100 parents were interviewed and police issued 2 formal warnings to parents about this practice. They also offered parents parenting tips, essentially, about how to properly deal with normal childhood behaviours.
So this is advice more than enforcement?
Absolutely, although it must be said that a formal warning is enforcement action. So this was done just this year. But the really shocking part of this is that I've found out that Oranga Tamariki actually knew about this practice, this suffocation practice, 8 years ago. There was a formal report of concern filed with Oranga Tamariki in 2017. Now, as a result of that complaint, OT and police did go to Gloriavale, but they did not take any formal enforcement action. What they did do was talk to the senior leadership at Gloriavale, not the parents, not the community, the senior leaders, about, quote, safe parenting techniques. And I guess the concern here is that what has transpired between 2017 and late last year is that we don't know if this practice was ongoing.
Clearly the message didn't get through if there were further complaints, right?
No,
so this must have carried on.
Absolutely. And Brian Henry, lawyer, who's been involved in legal action against Gloriavale, says he has witnesses who say that it was continuing. There is also an affidavit that I've obtained that is published this morning in the New Zealand Herald, and this is from a former Gloriavale member, David Courage, and he states very clearly that after this 2017 investigation, parents heard nothing more about it. And at no stage did the senior leadership say to parents in any sort of formal meeting or at dinner time, hey guys, we shouldn't do this anymore. Actually, to the contrary, he says leaders said that if you're doing this practice, make sure you do it away and out of sight of outsiders, i.e. official people who are coming in. Do not do it in front of them because they don't like it.
They knew they were doing wrong, basically.
It's really concerning. So Brian Henry, in my piece this morning in the New Zealand Herald, is absolutely, in his words, flabbergasted. He says this response from our authorities, police in Oranga Tamariki, is unbelievable. And he essentially is saying they have not done their job and that this is, in his words, a serious crime that has not been dealt with properly over years and years and years.
So they have grounds, I guess, to act now? Do they have enough to sort of potentially consider charges or to open?
Well, I guess that they would go back to their new investigation, which they carried out late last year, in which they again offered advice but this time they actually gave that advice to all the community. And they also issued 2 formal warnings. Now, those formal warnings are deemed enforcement action because essentially a formal warning from police is when you have enough evidence to prosecute, but you decide the best mechanism is actually this formal warning instead of dragging it through the courts. But certainly my advice from both the Children's Minister Karen Chaw and Louise Upston, who is the Minister who's overseeing this response to the Commission's findings, is that they will be taking any further reports of concern about this practice very seriously. Gloriavale, of course, is saying that they do not stand by this method of discipline anymore. And in their words, since 2016, they have had education programs for parents, quote, progressively embedded into community life. I guess that term progressively embedded is concerning.
That sounds like that needs some work to try and understand.
Absolutely, because progressively embedded does not say that the practice stopped in 2016, and of course we know it didn't, because there was reports of concern about the very thing 8 years ago.
And we know about that thanks to your reporting, so thank you for that, Michael Morrow. That's Michael Morrow, Senior Investigative Reporter here at the